Hey everybody, happy Monday afternoon. I'm Chris Bianchi, and joining me is our 9 News Broncos insider, Mike Klis. And Mike, it's always a busy time talking about the Denver Broncos, but perhaps this week more than others with the looming decision on a guy named Aaron Rodgers that a few of us have heard of. Mike, I'm going to ask you a question that you've never been asked before. What is the latest on Aaron Rodgers, and is he coming to the Denver Broncos?
The latest is he's still deciding whether to go back to Green Bay or say he would like to leave and play elsewhere. And if he plays elsewhere, the Broncos are going to be at the front of the line to the point that even if other teams come in to the bidding, and other teams may, the Broncos, besides having the money and getting a deal done with Green Bay, which maybe a little iffy, but the Broncos are in the front of the line because Nathaniel Hackett is their head coach, and that was Aaron Rodgers' offensive coordinator the past 3 years. Rodgers had 3 excellent years with Hackett as offensive coordinator. Head coach Matt LaFleur gets most of that credit, but Hackett has that type of personality and enthusiasm and energy that Rodgers really likes. And with Hackett also hiring Justin Outen, who was the Packers tight end coach. Now Outen is the Broncos' new offensive coordinator. So Rodgers can come here, and at 38 years old, after 17 years with one team, he doesn't have to change offenses. He doesn't have to change systems. He doesn't even have to change the terminology. Hackett's bringing the Packers playbook with him here to the Broncos. So that's why it's the Broncos are the overwhelming favorite to get Rodgers if he decides to leave Green Bay. And that decision by him, the anticipation for it, is to come by sometime tomorrow. He First of all, he's a regular on the Pat McAfee podcast, which is always broadcasts on Tuesdays, and or at least with Aaron Rodgers, it broadcasts on Tuesdays. And secondly, a big factor for Aaron Rodgers is what the Packers are going to do with Devontae Adams, his favorite receiver, and he's to be a free agent after this season or soon. And the Packers are going to make the Packers will make a decision on him whether to franchise tag him, which would keep him in Green Bay, and that is the anticipation. If they do that, if they franchise tag him or they work out a long-term deal, then by all indications, that would pacify Aaron Rodgers and return for another year to Green Bay. It appears Rodgers. Everyone seems to be reporting that Rodgers is going to return to Green Bay, but he hasn't made his decision yet. And if he goes the other way, then the Broncos. It's time for Broncos country to get excited, and hopefully this whole mystery is put to bed by about 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, so not long to go. I guess one question, Mike, since you've been covering the Broncos for a long time, it's almost 10 years ago to the date that Peyton Manning, there was a similar situation with Peyton Manning where he was deciding where to go. And I know there's obviously big differences in this case, but does this remind you at all of the Peyton Manning chase from 2012?
A little bit, except for in the Rodgers case, it's a trade, so the Broncos would have to give up quite a bit besides money and sell their program to get Rodgers. They can sell their program to Rodgers like they did for Manning. They can pay him top dollar like they did for Manning. But you still have to also please and satisfy the Green Bay Packers. And that means giving up at least two
Hmm.
first round draft picks. That means probably giving up another draft pick or two. That means giving up a young player or two of talent that you don't want to give up. So it's a much tougher deal this time. Um, it was a bidding type of situation, a recruitment in Peyton's case, kind of like more like college because he was a free agent. And in this case, it's got to be more a lot of orchestration and planning between just three different parties to get it done. But it's more difficult now because of what the Broncos have to give up to get Rodgers. Those draft picks are going to be, it's going to hurt to give them up. A young player or two, it's going to hurt to give them up. But they're so desperate for a quarterback since Peyton Manning retired in 2015 that the Broncos are going to be willing to get her done.
That's part of the reason I kind of came up in my head was that obviously since Peyton Manning, the Broncos quarterback struggle has been well documented at this point. But one player that they probably miss, at least right now, for the last few months has been Von Miller, who was traded to the LA Rams back in early November. And today, more than cryptic tweet, he said, I quote, I kind of want that old thing back, ... 5280, end quote. So is there going to be a reunion there?
I don't think so. Vaughn's very shrewd, by the way. First time he's a free agent, and he already knows how to drive up the market, the bidding for himself. I think a couple things. I'll give you a couple reasons why it could happen. One, the Broncos are going to be in the pass rush market next week in free agency. They want a pass rush. They need one. Bradley Chubb had 0 sacks last year, and Von Miller is gone. So they need someone to replace Von Miller. They actually need 2 more pass rushers. So there is a great need there, a pass rusher. Another reason why is Vaughn has left the door open for a return. You know, I was a little surprised by that. I thought he would want, after leaving for the Rams, that he would want to continue to have a change of scenery going forward. He still has a house here. He's got a huge, monstrous house, a beautiful home, but it's the type of home that doesn't sell and when it's put on the market, the next day. And then his son, newborn son, was born in training camp, I believe. Training camp for the preseason lives here in Denver. So those are factors why Vaughn could return. Reasons why not. First of all, the Broncos need a quarterback. Vaughn's at the stage of his career. He wants to play for a Super Bowl. He's good in Super Bowl games. He's proven that. And to get there, you better have a quarterback. And the Broncos don't have a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. So they almost would have to – Aaron Rodgers would have to fall into place first for Von Miller to come here. The catch-22 is if you pay Aaron Rodgers, and you're talking about $50 million a year – for Aaron Rodgers. Right now, the highest paid is Patrick Mahomes at $45 million, and then it's Josh Allen at $43 million. So if people are choking on $50 million, that's what the next level is. That's what you would be paying Aaron Rodgers, $50 million. And even though they have the cap space, would they then pay $18 million a year for Von Miller? That would be difficult to do. I think they would try to spread their money out more evenly. To get their pass rusher if they get Aaron Rodgers. Keep in mind, too, Chris, the Broncos are about to have a new owner. Last year, the cap was $182 million, and the Broncos spent $206. And then they did the funny math to get their cap down with signing bonuses and, to prorate all the money. With the new owner, they may not do that. They don't want to be in bad financial shape, show debt, anything like that for the new owner because they're trying to sell it. They're trying to sell the franchise. You don't want to sell a franchise with debt behind it. And so you're wanting to clean up. You don't want to go in excess of salaries in order to, while you're trying to sell your product. So I think it would be a long shot. It's not impossible now because Vaughn has left the door open. But I just think the Broncos are going to go in a different direction. And also, with this whole new coaching staff, they not only got rid of their head coach, Vic Fangio, they got rid of all the assistants with the exception of Zach Uzzani, who's, and Christian Parker. Uzzani's a bundle of enthusiasm also. He kind of fits well with Hackett. But they want a new culture here. And I don't think they want Vaughn, who was part of the old culture. And it's not his fault that it was a losing culture, but he was part of it. And, he's such a big outsized personality. I'm not sure they would want him back into the new culture that they're trying to build in that locker room. So those are. I just think it's a long shot at best that Von Miller comes back, but good for him to drive up the price and trend on Twitter like he does while he's on vacation in the Bahamas with his family.
Well, I think a lot of people, myself included, got a little excited, not only about Vaughn coming back, of course, but imagine if he did. The Broncos got a second and a third round draft pick for him just a few months ago. And so, I mean, talk about a win-win if he ends up coming back, 3 months later or something, or 4 months later.
That'd be stealing, except for the Rams did win the Super Bowl in the interim. And so the Rams can't feel ripped off. So
it would be the ultimate win-win, and I think for everybody involved in that. But well, Mike, we really appreciate a few minutes of your time. We know you are on Aaron Rodgers' watch, so we'll let you.
Yeah, all
we'll let you do it. But
the longer it goes, I think it's good for the Broncos. He could have returned to the Packers so long ago, and he hasn't. So he's thinking. He is definitely thinking about the Broncos, I think, and we'll see. We'll see where he goes. The other thinking is, he's absolutely done with his contract after this year. Is that he just plays one more year in Green Bay, and then he gets out and he basically becomes a free agent or retires and then decides really what he wants to do. Just kind of kicks the can one more year, and then he's completely free to decide what he wants to do.
Okay, so a lot of different options for Aaron Rodgers and potentially for the Broncos as well. I guess hopefully we'll get some more clarity in the next 24 hours, Mike.
And if it's not Aaron Rodgers, they'll poke the tires on Russell Wilson. They may wait on Deshaun Watson to see if his legal matters get cleaned up. Otherwise, I think they'll look at the Jameis Winstons or even Drew Lock coming back, Mitch Trubisky. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he's got a damaged shoulder, and then draft a quarterback behind him. They really did evaluate strongly all those quarterbacks that were at the combine last week in Indy.
Boy, that would be a drop off. Russell Wilson down to Mitch Trubisky.
Yes,
I mean, so it's a.
But you're drafting a guy behind him. You're drafting a guy behind him, and then you're really building for the future. And you've got George Peyton. In the second year of a 6-year contract, you got Nathaniel Hackett just starting on a 4th-year contract. You would be moving with this new drafted quarterback. You would be setting up for 2023, 2024, something like that. So that's a possibility too.
Well, we know you'll be on top of it, Mike. Mike Klis, our 9 News Broncos insider, and the man who, I don't know if you ever sleep, Mike, but at least these days. But Mike, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate having you on.
I love that question. What do you do in the off season?
Not in the Bahamas like Von Miller.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Chris, enjoyed it. Thank you, buddy.
Bye, Mike.